This is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and it's another one of my famous juice-off comparison tests, except no substitutes, alright? So the first thing I would like to say is that I make many different comparison videos online for juicers and blenders and dehydrators. And they're all on this YouTube channel, over 450 videos. And if you guys enjoyed this video today and would like me to continue to be able to make videos on YouTube, which I enjoy a lot, I would encourage you guys to support me, my work, by making your purchase at DiscountJuicers.com. If you buy your juicer anywhere else, I'm not going to get the credit, and I may not be able to continue to make these videos if people don't support me by making their purchase at Discount Juicers. Now, I want to let you guys know that we do have a price match policy, so if you find any other retailer selling the same juicer that's an authorized retailer, the same juicer, we will match their price as long as they're authorized. So yeah, keep us in mind, and I would like to earn your business. One of the ways is actually making these demonstration and comparison videos for you guys. Anyways, in today's video, what we'll be doing is we'll be comparing the Omega VSJ843 against the Kitchenaid Maximum Slow Juicer. I get a lot of inquiries, John, is that Kitchenaid juicer any good? And is the Kitchenaid attachment that goes on the stand mixer any good? Well, basically, the juicer, the top half of this juicer that fits on the motor base is basically pretty much just like the one that would fit on your stand mixer, so the results will be the same. I am not sure actually of the RPMs of the motor base here or of the accessory port on your stand mixer, so that may vary a little bit. Plus, I could not even get information from Kitchenaid when I called them up personally to get the RPMs of how fast this slow juicer runs at. So in any case, both these two machines today are known as vertical single auger juicers. And that's just one kind of juicer. If you think of kinds of juicer, think of kinds of shoes, right? There may be many kinds of shoes. Some may be like running shoes, some may be hiking shoes, some may be dress shoes, some may be beach shoes, right? They all serve the same purpose, to cover your feet, and the juicers serve for the same purpose of extracting the fruits and the vegetables, the juice out of the fruits and the vegetables. But they do it a little bit differently. And these are the vertical single auger style machines, and I like these vertical single auger machines because they're like kind of a multi-purpose shoe, right? They'll do pretty much most tasks fairly well. They'll juice things like nice firm fruits, leafy greens, and hard vegetables all fairly well. Depending on which one you use, they may be faster or slower to use, but the other thing about the vertical slow juicers is that they create a high nutritional content because they generally run at lower RPM. So this is what I recommend instead of the high speed machines that tend to not extract as many minerals out of the juice and also lower the beneficial antioxidants, polyphenols, which basically in turn means in tests they've shown it not to be as effective with all the different anti-disease properties. So that's where these two juicers are the same, but they're also very different. So I guess without further ado, let's get right into that. So I guess the main difference for me, coming from a background where I've been juicing now for over 22 years consistently, is that this machine, the Omega, has a 15-year long warranty. That's the longest warranty in the juicing industry. That's almost as long as how long I've been drinking fresh juices on an almost daily basis when I'm home myself. And so I would encourage you guys to support and get a machine with a long warranty, because that is your assurance that you're going to buy a good, durable machine that's going to last. I mean, if you do the math calculations on the price of this machine divided by 15 years on how long it's going to work for you and guaranteed to work, provided, if it breaks due to manufacturer's defect, it will be covered. Obviously, if you drop it, break it, do something to it that you're not supposed to be, put your, spoon down the chute, that's not covered. That's like your own personal fault, right? But nonetheless, it's going to allow you to juice. And I have many customers that have contacted me, John, my juicer broke, I'm jonesing, man, I need my juice. And so I like machines that have a long warranty versus a machine like the Kitchenaid, as impressive as it looks. It only has a 1-year warranty, and there are many inexpensive juicers on the market, made in China, that have a short warranty. So I would discourage you guys from purchasing one with a short warranty, because it's just a better value to have a long warranty from the get-go without having to try to buy or having somebody sell you an extended warranty. If you go into Best Buy or somebody buying a TV, they always try to sell you that extended warranty because that's where they make a lot of their money, right? Well, I don't want to sell you guys an extended warranty. I just want to sell you guys a juicer with an extended warranty. And because it comes with one from the factory, 15 years. And also you'll see maybe some of the other differences between these machines besides just the warranty. I mean, another thing, I mentioned it, is where the machines are built. Korea invented the technology of the vertical slow juicer, also the horizontal slow juicer for that matter, and even the twin gear juicer. That's where the technology emerged from. And this machine is made in China, so I would encourage you guys to be wary of the machines made in China. Not that they're maybe no good, but I haven't come across too many machines in China that can even come close to rivaling, the Korean-built machines. And if you're thinking about buying a juicer from America, think again. I'm sorry, I tested the latest machine that came out in 2016, the Champion 4000 juicer, and as much as I'd like to buy and support American companies, that juicer fell really short based on my testing, which kind of sucks. And I hope there's an American company that's up and coming that makes an American-made juicer that kicks ass over all the other ones. Anyways, aside from where the juicer is made, let's get into the build quality. I do have to say, this machine, I like it. I mean, it's die-cast metal, and it's painted. So it's die-cast painted metal. It's actually nice and heavy, so if you're not too strong, really heavy to lift up. Omega, on the other hand, this is a plastic, a little bit lighter to handle. I do like the die-cast on there. It's kind of a nice touch, but that is a pro and a con. I mean, the pro of the die-cast painted is that it looks really nice. The con is that it could scratch and chip and all this kind of stuff, flake, if you're not taking care of it. Plastic, on the other hand, it's not really, it's more durable, for nicks and scratches and whatnot. So I kind of prefer that myself, although I do wish Omega would come out with one that's nice and snazzy. Now, another thing that's a little bit different about this has a drip tray, because you will get drips out of this machine. And this is another part to clean. Over on the Omega VSJ, they actually have a spout cap. So the spout cap closes when you're done juicing. You could also use it to mix things in the juicer, which I don't necessarily recommend. And then open it when you're done, or close it when you're done, and then no drips on the counter. So this is going to prevent you from cleaning an extra part. And so anything I could do to shave off the cleaning time is well worth it. The VSJ843 takes me under 3 minutes to clean, and due to a little bit more complicated parts and cutting blades, that might take me under 5 minutes, so the time to clean is not that different. But as you guys will learn in a little bit, the time to juice will be actually longer in the Kitchenaid. Anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and take apart the machines and share with you the part components one at a time. So coming out first, we have the feed chute housing. This is the feed chute here on the Omega VSJ843, and this is the feed chute on the Kitchenaid. So you guys can see the difference in that. Definitely the Kitchenaid feed chute is a bit larger. This could be a pro or a con. In some cases, feeding things on a large feed chute may not work as well. So what Kitchenaid has done is then they have a pusher. If you put this whole pusher in the machine, then you have a smaller feed chute that's just a circular that you could feed smaller things in that may be more effective to actually get cut against the blade due to their design. Otherwise, it may just wrap around the top and just kind of spin around. This means also one extra part to clean, so I don't particularly care for the, the pusher within the pusher thing myself. I do like that this top piece, though, is a clear. And you can see through it and you can kind of see what's going on, whereas the VSJ is actually the black. Next, the augers. And this is where these machines differ widely. I got to be careful on this guy. So these are the two augers, and at first glance, the bottom half actually looks kind of similar, but much different on the top half. The top half of the auger on the Kitchenaid actually has like a Kitchenaid style food processor blade that's a slicing blade. So as you put the produce in this machine, it's actually sliced with the blade, and then the sliced piece goes into the auger, and then it is crushed and squeezed, and then the juice comes out the screen and comes out of the machine. Also, on the bottom of this machine, they actually have a recess, and actually it's a quite large recess, a little bit more than the recess actually on the VSJ843. But yeah, augers, actually, they're fairly similar, a little bit different in design. I think the auger on the VSJ has a little more flutes, lines going down it to maybe grab and grind up the produce better, which means in the end it's going to get a higher yield. Now, instead of the cutting blade on the top, which is kind of like, I think I've only seen maybe like this juicer, maybe one other one from China that actually does it like this. Most other vertical slow juicers may have 1 or 2 wing tips at the top. The VSJ actually has 2 little wing tips at the top, so that this is 1, this is 2, whereas on this one there's only 1 cutting blade. So it takes 1 full revolution of this machine to come around to chunk off a little piece, whereas on the VSJ, while these are not like sharp blades by any means, they won't cut your finger like that one will, you know, they are enough to basically chunk off pieces of produce, like, you know, carrots, for example. And the machine comes around, chunks off 1 piece, goes a bit further, chunks off another piece. So it's basically working twice as fast as the Kitchenaid to chop things up actually a little bit before it goes in. Of course, you know, things like carrots are chopped fairly well. Things like apples are chopped fairly well with these plastic, quote-unquote, blades. But something like celery will get kind of cut, but then the strings may not get cut, so then they'll leave a little bit string pieces in there. Leafy greens, another thing, these blades are really just going to mush leafy greens and not really cut them. Next, let's get down to the next few pieces here. We got the juicing screen and the wiping blade. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Now on these pieces, I could definitely say that one is more high quality than the other. This one seems like, you know, not maybe a little bit more lighter, not quite as heavy, and a little bit cheaper in quality to me. Also, if we turn this over, you guys can see it's like kind of loose. Like if we just pop this down a little bit, it's going to go down. It's going to just, the string's going to pop out. But on this one, we could pop that down, and it just stays in until it pops out. So I mean, this wiping blade fits really loosely on the Kitchenaid screen, which kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's not going to wipe as well in my opinion. Also, this seems to be like a little bit more like big and clunky in my opinion. And then also, there's 3 wiping blades, which, you know, I don't think a juicer necessarily needs 3 wiping blades. It's just a 1 extra part to clean, and the part to clean the most is when you're done juicing is underneath the wiping blades and the little crevices. You want to make sure you get in there because juice will hide, and then over time it's going to mold on you. Meanwhile, on the VSJ843, if you're looking at this wiping blade, you're like, John, that has 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of 3. So that's like 1 extra to clean. Well, here's the thing. So the wiping blade on 2 sides are actually molded plastic, and these are just kind of like for looks. They don't really do much. So you really only have to clean 2 of the wiping blades on the VSJ843. So that's going to make cleaning a little bit easier for you as well. Also, you know, these are black wiping blades, so they're not going to stain as much or show the stains as much as the red one will. The wiping blade is actually critical for a juicer, for a vertical slow juicer. It kind of helps rotate around and squeegee off the juicing screen and to keep the juice moving out. Also, it you know, may help dislodge some pulp that gets stuck in the screen as well. Next, I want to compare the screens, and this is where it's you know, fairly different in my opinion. So number 1, I like to look at the juicing screens in a few ways. Number 1, in terms of the hole size. So the hole size, to me, on the Kitchenaid, the second stage, because the juicing screen has 2 stages. First stage is the top stage. On the initial crush, juice is released out of the top stage. And most of the juice is actually going to flow out of the bottom stage, stage 2. And on stage 2 of the Kitchenaid screen, it looks like the hole is a little bit smaller than on the VSJ. Also, maybe not quite as many holes, which also means, you know, smaller holes, not quite as many, mean there's not as much opportunity for the juice to come out. Now on the top set of holes, just with my untrained eye, it looks like both holes are about the similar size. But on the Kitchenaid, there's actually much less surface area. So if I put these screens together, you guys can see the band on the top is actually quite narrow, and this is a wider here, so there's a more surface area. So that's something about the screen. Also on the inside of the screen, I mean, basically, there's one major difference here. On this side, on this screen, it's just an open conical shape here. There's no hole in the bottom. This is the 2nd generation style juicing screen that deleted the hole in the bottom of the screen, which is basically a major blockage point and can cause clogging and your juicer to not work properly if you're not paying attention and cutting things up properly and feeding things properly. On the Kitchenaid, they actually have this hole on there. So this is an outdated design. Things have gotten improved, and Kitchenaid's still using an old hole in the bottom of the machine, which is prone to clogging from my experience. The other thing about this is that I'm just concerned about the plastic. I could tap that and hear the plastic. You guys hear the difference in the tone? So this is a little bit different plastic. So I know on both augers, both companies are using the GE Ultim material. This is an 8 times harder plastic than plastic formerly used on augers, and they switched to that because they found out they were breaking some augers in some situations. But with the Ultim augers, unless you're putting a spoon or a fork or a knife or something down the juicer that you shouldn't be, they're pretty much solid. Like, I don't think a fruit and vegetable is going to break the auger. Now, I have seen problems with screen breakage. The original slow juicer actually had a non-Ultim screen, which I believe this to be non-Ultim. I mean, the way I could tell is I could take this and I could flex it. You guys could see it flex there in the video when I'm squeezing it. And so it's a much softer plastic, not quite as hard and resilient. Whereas on the VSJ843, I could squeeze this and I can't even flex it. I mean, it just doesn't even move. So much softer plastic means, in my opinion, lower quality, which means you're going to break your screen sooner rather than later, which means after the 1-year warranty, you're going to have to be buying a new screen. Now, if your screen should break due to no fault of your own, you're using the juicer properly in the VSJ843, this is a warranted part. This will be covered for 15 years. And the screen is probably the most likely thing to break on a vertical slow juicer, not the motor. The motor is actually fairly dependable, but I have seen screens break once in a while. I don't think I've actually broken a screen myself on the VSJ yet. Next, I want to get over to the juicing bowl. So here's the juicing bowl. It's a little bit larger on the Kitchenaid, and here's the one on the VSJ843. Both basically have a where the motor shaft goes in, it's kind of raised up, so this is going to prevent leakage in the machine. And both seem to have a fairly good bushing to prevent leakage. I think the one on the VSJ is a bit more beefy, so that's going to probably provide a better seal than on the Kitchenaid. And then the other things, of course, on this unit, the pulp comes out the side and the juice drips out a hole in the bottom of the machine. And on this unit, the pulp comes out the side and the juice comes out a spout. That, once again, you have that spout cap that I mentioned earlier. Now on this machine, you also have a little plug here, a silicone flap. So this silicone flap should always be plugged in all the way when you're juicing. You only need to remove it when cleaning. This keeps some back pressure on the pulp to keep it inside the machine to get the most extraction before it's released. And same thing on the Kitchenaid. The Kitchenaid, a little more complex. It has this little pulp flap here, and then this is something I haven't seen in any other machine. The outlet port actually could slide back or slide forward, and I guess this is because if you're juicing, you're going to want to slide it back, and if you're processing thing to make sauces and whatnot, you're going to move it all the way forward. So we're going to just go ahead and move it all the way back. Actually, I did have this piece when I was fumbling with it come out, and then it was kind of a pain to get back in, and I'm not sure I really care for this piece, how it moves so much. But yeah, let's go ahead and assemble this back up, and we'll show you guys how to assemble both machines. So to assemble both machines, they're both fairly easy. I mean, VSJ might be a little bit easier, but anyways, on the Kitchenaid, you want to take this bowl here and line up where the pulp comes out with a little indentation on the motor base. Super simple, super easy. That's going to actually go through the motor shaft. And then actually on the VSJ, once again, you're just going to go ahead and take this bowl and adjust it right there. And the spout always comes facing forward where the juice comes out. Next on the VSJ, you're going to take your wiping blade and the screen, push that all the way in, and make sure you push that in on the side. I'll do the side shot. So the screen is actually lower than the wiping blade. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then we're just going to drop this in, no arrows to line up, just rotate it until it seats into place. Then we're going to go ahead and take our auger. The auger kind of goes down. I kind of twist it as I'm going down, and there's 2 wing tips that kind of fit in to a part on the wiping blade. Then finally we have our top, 1 arrow to line up on the top. There's an arrow on the back that's going to line up with the arrow on the top of the motor body. You're just going to put it to the right of it, and then slide that in place, and it's fully assembled. If you have assembled it properly, you will be able to turn it on. As you guys could hear, nice, low and slow, 43 revolutions per minute. This is one of the slowest RPM vertical juicers on the market. Let's go back over to the Kitchenaid. Once again, we're going to go ahead and take that juicing screen and the wiping blade and put that right on. Then there's a little red arrow on the top of the Kitchenaid that's going to line up with the red arrow on the bowl, and that drops into place. Then we got the auger. Now be careful with the auger. This is a sharp blade, so maybe they have these two little holes here to handle it. And then you just take that and just push that down in. It just seats firmly. Then you're going to go ahead and take your top here, and you got to line up basically there's a lock and unlock, which is you're going to line up with the little arrow there, so it's unlocked. We put this down, then we lock it in place, and we're all assembled. And then now we could actually use the button to turn this on. As you guys could hear, the Kitchenaid juicer, slow juicer, is actually louder, a little bit louder than the VSJ. Also runs at a significantly faster RPM. Now I did call Kitchenaid for the actual RPM that it runs at, and the customer service rep could not tell me because it was not in the instruction manual. And so I don't know if it's proprietary information. Maybe they don't want this known. I'm not exactly sure. But basically by looking at it and how fast it spins, I would estimate it runs in excess of 100 RPMs, which is probably one of the fastest slow juicers out there, which could be a good or a bad thing in my opinion. I guess, yeah, with that, that's pretty much both these machines, how they work. I think the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and get out the produce, and we're going to do a juice-off comparison in both these machines so you guys can see how they work. So now we're all ready to juice, and now we're going to go ahead and give you guys the weigh-in to make sure we have a fair fight. Alright, let's go ahead and do a weigh-in over on the Kitchenaid side. Looks like we got 3 pounds 2 ounces. And then over on the Omega VSJ side, we got 3 pounds 2 ounces. So yeah, 3 pounds 2 ounces on both scales, exactly identical amounts of produce. So now I want to explain to you guys what we're juicing today, and more importantly, why. So today, as you guys saw, we're juicing half a pineapple in each machine, also a little hot pepper in each machine, add a little bit of spice to the juice. The pineapple adds the sweetness as well as a really nice proteolytic enzyme that may be helpful in fighting inflammation. Of course, also we got some cucumbers here. These are hothouse grown cucumbers, a lot more mild than the standard cucumbers with a bitter skin. And that's going to add lots of nice water content, dilute the juice a little bit, but also contain lots of nutrients for you guys. And of course we got 2 romaine hearts, organic. And so this will add a lot of chlorophyll as well as some of the other beneficial phytonutrient and phytochemicals in the lettuce. And of course the superstar of this recipe today is actually the purple carrots. The purple carrots, may not look like much, but they are power-packed with anthocyanins, which are one of the most important phytonutrients that you should be including on a regular basis. And it's in things that have nice purple pigment. So think blueberries, think black or purple grapes, right? But carrots, especially these carrots, have the highest amounts. And in studies, they show that even if you're eating junk food and drinking purple carrot juice, actually this was done with mice, they were able to reverse the excess weight gain, as well as reverse blood sugar issues, as well as reverse, heart and circulatory issues. So I believe they're very beneficial, and I want to encourage you guys to seek out purple carrots so that you guys could juice them too. Anyways, now that we got all this stuff all weighed out, let's gonna clean this table up. Let's move the scales out the way here, and let's get into juicing. So today I think I'll be juicing in the Omega VSJ843 first. And when we are juicing the VSJ843, we will need to cut up some of the produce. So the pineapple is going to be cut into smaller pieces. Probably the lettuce could be cut in half. Yeah. So we'll just see how that goes. I got a cutting board here. So, to be fair, we're just going to chop and drop on both machines. And we're going to do it one at a time. I may end up speeding up this process so you guys could just see me chopping and cutting and see the overall time instead of just seeing the whole process slow style. We'll just see how that goes. Anyways, here what we got the handy iPhone and the stopwatch app on the iPhone there, so you guys could keep tabs on how long it's going to take to juice. Okay, we'll move this guy right here. And I think without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to go ahead and hit the start button, turn this baby on, and let's see if we can fit a cucumber. That won't fit in there. Slice it in half. I like on the VSJ843 you can take a cucumber and just drop it in there and it's going to juice right up. Let's see, romaine hearts, chop that in half. I mean, I think if we just chop this in half, we could just pretty much drop that in there. It's going to juice it up. Now, pineapple, a little bit different story. We're going to have to chop that into pieces. The main thing that can get caught in any vertical juicer is the core. So I do encourage you guys to cut the core pieces up into little small pieces so that it does not clog up the machine. As you guys can see, I'm rotating the different textures that I am putting in the machine. I'm not putting like all the soft stuff first. I'm putting a little bit of each one. I think the next thing I really got to do is the carrots, because the carrots are really going to help get that pulp to push through the machine, especially on the first generation machines, the kind that have the hole on the bottom of the screen. It's definitely more important to ensure you're rotating your produce properly, because that style gets clogged up much more than the VSJ. Oh, the other thing I want to say is that, you know, from my experience, the VSJ makes significantly less pulp in the juice compared to like the older style with the hole on the bottom of the screen. Let's go ahead next and cut this purple carrot in half. And look at this purple carrot, man. Purple through and through. And feed a carrot into VSJ, you want to just basically push it in there, dunk it down, let it take a couple of chunks off, then pull it out. Otherwise, the machine may get stuck. And look at that. Instantly, we're getting some of that purple, deep purple carrot juice coming out. Next, let's go ahead and pop in a cucumber. And I think what I'm going to do for you guys next is actually just get through the rest of this produce. We're just going to go ahead and speed this video up for you guys, save you guys some time. Alright, so as you guys can see, I'm just about done juicing in the VSJ. It's all worked very well. I've you know, just rotated the different produce items I put in there. And of course, the last thing I always encourage you guys to put into slow juicers is something hard and firm like a carrot, or if you're juicing, not juicing carrots, other kind of root vegetable or something like celery. Once again, we're just dunking a little bit in there, letting it take off a chunk, moving it on through the machine. And as we get to this part, it's pretty thin, we just drop it in. And once you drop the last piece of produce in any vertical slow juicer, you don't want to just drop the piece in and then turn it off instantly. Unlike a centrifugal ejection machine, you know, there's produce still inside the machine that's getting extracted and juiced. The way you can tell if it's done is if the pulp is stopped flowing, and it looks like to me the pulp is pretty much stopped flowing and the juice is just dribbling out at this point. So we can go ahead and turn that baby off, hit the stop button. And you guys saw that on the screen. We'll flash that up, like the overall time. I didn't see that because I hit the reset there. So I think it took about 5 minutes and 15 seconds to juice that mixture in the Omega VSJ843. Next, let's go ahead and move this over, and let's get juicing in the Kitchenaid. Let's see how long it's going to take. Now, my opinion is that it's going to take a little bit longer. Because it only has a single cutter on the blade. It's going to take a lot longer to feed things in, but that's going to give me better and more prep time. Alright, go ahead and turn this on, start the machine up, and let's get juicing. So due to the larger feed chute, we can just drop things in without cutting, and then as the machine spins around, it chunks off a piece of produce, and then it juices it on up. And as you guys can see, the juice is starting to come out there. Let's try to put that hot pepper in and see what happens. We'll put in another cucumber there. And let's see if this lettuce will fit in. Well, we can't put the lettuce in because we're waiting for this cucumber to kind of like, as the machine goes around, like it chunks off one piece at a time. So it's going very slow. I do not encourage you to use the pusher when using any vertical slow juicer, because that means you may be overfeeding. Plus on this machine, literally the machine needs to go around a full revolution to cut it, so whether you have the pusher on it or not, it's not going to make it go any faster. So let's see, we're going to maybe take off a few of these romaine leaves and push that in. And that's kind of really not working so well. So when things do get stuck in the feed chute, that's when you can maybe use the pusher just to try to help it to get cut up. Some of the lettuce is actually spinning around on the top and actually not going down in the machine. go ahead and feed some more of this lettuce in there. So yeah, I'm gonna have to use some pressure to put this, to make it go into the machine here. I guess to save you the agony of me juicing each and every produce item, and I am gonna rotate the produce items, I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up for you guys and come back at you when I'm about done. Alright, finally down to the last carrot on the Kitchenaid. Let's see, the lettuce and the pineapple have been kind of difficult to juice. Like, it just like bunches up at the top and actually doesn't get through the blade because it kind of mushes. You know, it really needs hard, firm produce to juice more effectively. And I'm concerned that some of the stuff will not actually even get into the machine because it's just riding up on top of the blade here. I'll probably show you guys that when we're about done. And I'm still juicing. How long has it taken? Like 6 minutes so far. Alright, finally done juicing in the Kitchenaid. That being said, juice is still dribbling out actually at a good clip. And the pulp looks like it's still moving out. We're going to go ahead and let this run a little bit more, and then we'll come back at you when we're ready to check out the results. Alright, so I think we're all about done juicing. Let's go ahead and turn this baby off. We're going to make sure we hit the stop this time. And it looks like it took 7 minutes and 2 seconds, so maybe say 5 versus 7 minutes, so it took maybe like, I don't know, 2 minutes more in the Kitchenaid, so that actually wasn't too much longer. It's not too bad. Let's go ahead and move this bowl out the way, and let's go ahead and compare the yields. I do like the spout cap on the VSJ843. We can show you guys the juice there, and then carefully move this out. Looks like made lots of foam on the Kitchenaid. Compare the juice there. Now the problem with this is that these are non-standard containers. We can't compare them side by side because they're different. So let's go ahead and compare it with similar containers, as well as strain out the pulp, because if one juicer made more pulp than the other, that could artificially inflate the yield. Plus, I know some of you guys don't like pulp in your juice. You know, it's probably a good thing to drink the pulp that's in the juice, so I wouldn't really complain. But if you don't like it, you could, of course, sieve it out. Now, on this machine, it actually is dripping down, so you're going to have to, you know, clean that drip tray once you're done. So what we got now for you guys, we got 2 Pyrex measuring cups, or actually Anchor Hawking measuring cups. For those of you guys that are interested, I normally only collect my juice in these glass measuring cups, and I don't normally use the plastic measuring cups that come with the machines. And these are available at Target, about $5, or maybe even Walmart near you. And let's go ahead and first we're going to go ahead and pour out the juice from the Kitchenaid. Let's see if we pour this very carefully without losing any. Yeah, I don't like how it pours. It doesn't pour too well on this machine, or this cup here. Alright, the juice is not really going through too easily. Lots of juice not going through, probably because there's a lot of pulp that's actually clogging up this fine sieve here. We're going to do my best to shake out all the juice and keep all the pulp in the sieve. Wow, man, there's even like big chunks of unjuiced produce in the sieve. Alright, let's keep shaking this down. You know, this is not too surprising. Many, especially first generation slow juicers that have the hole in the bottom of the screen there, tend to put more pulp in the juice. The style with the, you know, no hole in the bottom of the screen, such as the Omega VSJ, tends to put less pulp in the juice. Anyways, let's go ahead and pour out of this. This has actually a better, you know, way to pour it, because this is all round. This actually comes to a nice point. So this pours really nice and easily, you know, much more refined product. And as you guys see, I'm pouring it. I don't see barely any pulp coming out. Not like, I mean, this is just literally a pulp bath over here on this side. Coming out nice and easily. I'm just filling this puppy up. And we're still pouring. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shake this pulp down. Lots of pulp here on the Kitchenaid side, and we're going to go ahead and shake down the pulp in the VSJ as well. Alright, so I've finally gotten this all shaken down. It's definitely taken a while. And I want to show you guys this. I don't know if you guys can see this too well. But if you guys look at the pulp from the Kitchenaid versus the pulp on the Omega, it looks like the Kitchenaid produced definitely more pulp. I don't know, maybe double. The pulp also, if you guys notice, there's like big chunks of stuff that actually didn't get juiced that actually made it into the juice. I'm seeing big chunks of lettuce in there. The VSJ, while it did make some pulp, it looks like to be ground much more finer, more like an applesauce consistency. So if you did end up drinking this, it probably wouldn't be such a big deal. What I'd like to do is actually weigh out the pulp for you guys before we do a comparison of the two yields. Since we got the scales right here. And I'm just curious to see which juicer actually made more pulp. So this is including the strainer weight, which the strainers are identical. And let's see. So the side of the Kitchenaid, 4.5 ounces of pulp, including the strainer. And on the VSJ, 3.9 ounces of pulp, including the strainer. So yeah, definitely made more than 10%, maybe 10% less pulp in the VSJ. Alright, now the moment you guys have been waiting for, let's go ahead and check out how much juice we made. This is probably even more important than actually just the pulp that was made. So we got these lined up front and center for you guys, and let's go ahead and do a close-up. Let's go ahead and do a close-up for you guys on the juice that was made. So over on the Kitchenaid side, we're taking a look at that. Looks like we got about 800 milliliters right on the money. And then over to the VSJ side, you can instantly see we have more juice. And if we take a look at how much we got there, it looks like we got about 900 milliliters right on the money. You know, the color, they kind of look similar to me on both these machines. But yeah, let's go ahead and go for a taste test next. Alright, now I want to go ahead and do a taste test for you guys. I guess we'll taste the Kitchenaid juice first. Once we strain it out, really nice texture, nice consistency there. That's a good recipe. Wow. I taste the sweetness of the pineapple at the same time I'm tasting like the lettuce. And then I taste like the shot of the hot pepper. You know, if you guys were to do this recipe, you might want to put like half a hot pepper. It's kind of spicy, but I like my my drink spicy. It's quite good. Let's go ahead and try the VSJ juice. I really love the color of that juice, man. It looks like a nice red wine. And in my opinion, this is much healthier for you than red wine, of course. I could say that it tastes a little bit different. It's barely noticeable. I'd say the VSJ juice tastes a little bit more, I don't know, full-bodied, if that's the word. I don't exactly know why that is. Maybe that's because this runs at a higher RPM. Maybe oxidized the juice more. Maybe made a little bit more foam. I'm not exactly sure, but I think I like this a tad bit better. But I mean, it's pretty close to call. Really nice mouthfeel on that juice. Oh, of course, last thing I want to do for you guys, let's go ahead and move the juices out of the way. I always like to check the pulp. Pulp could tell you a lot about a juicer. And let's see, wow, I could definitely see, you guys probably can't see that, but I could see that just looking at the pulp. I mean, the pulp on the VSJ looks a lot, drier. Let's go ahead and take up a handful of this pulp and squeeze. Getting a couple of drops out there, not 100% efficient. Cool thing on the VSJ, you could actually take the pulp and run it back through the machine to get a further extraction. Now, if you do this, I do encourage you to feed the pulp back in along with a carrot at the same time. That's going to work a lot better because that hard, firm carrot, the big chunks, are going to help push through all the soft pulp. And if you just put a lot of pulp in there, you may get a pulp jam. All right, checking out the Kitchenaid pulp now. Let's go ahead and squeeze this pulp. It's also wet. It's hard to say, you know, normally I see like one is way different than the other, but both these pulps were about the same dryness. That being said, I do want to show you guys inside the Kitchenaid here. Up at the top of the machine, look at all that. This is all produce that didn't actually even have the opportunity to go through the machine to get juiced because it actually didn't make it through this blade here. And oh man, this is telling. Let me go ahead and show you guys this too, actually. I'm making a mess. But inside this juicing screen on the Kitchenaid, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a lot of extra pulp just stuck in the middle there. And for fun, let's go ahead and show you guys the VSJ. So underneath the VSJ, on the top of this housing, there's like basically nothing in there. And then if we go ahead and pull this auger out, there's nothing on this auger, whereas on the Kitchenaid auger, still lots of stuff that didn't get juiced. And let me show you this screen here. And look at this, man. I mean, this is why I like the Omega brand juicers. I mean, this is their second generation vertical single auger juicer. They got it really dialed in. Look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that. But inside this screen, there's basically virtually, I mean, there's some pulp left, but it's almost all gone. And the Kitchenaid is like caked on the inside with the basically unjuiced pulp. So when this happens, that means you're losing yield, and that's why the VSJ actually made a higher yield than the Kitchenaid, because it's just a better dialed in and more refined machine. So with that comes the end of this video, and at the end of all my juice off videos, I have to declare a winner of the juice off. And so today I'm going to have to declare the winner of the juice off, the Omega VSJ843. Not only did it make in excess of 10% more yield, it also took about 2 minutes less to make the juice. It also has a 14-year longer warranty. The VSJ is actually what I personally use at home. I've tested many juicers, and for my juicing style and for what I juice, it's better. I mean, there are slow juicers that will save you more time over the VSJ, because I was surprised at actually how long it took, because in the last video I did with the Kitchenaid and the VSJ, or the Kuvings, actually the Kuvings took less time, you know, to juice the same amount than the Kitchenaid, and probably even less than the VSJ would, but the VSJ, based on my testing for what I juice, makes a little bit more yield, and it tends to make a little bit drier pulp. So, you know, mainly what I try to show you guys is that every juicer has their pros and cons. Hey, if you get a Kitchenaid juicer like this for like 50 bucks and you're able to juice and you start drinking juice because of it, hey, that's a great deal, you know. And I probably wouldn't throw a stone at you for doing that, because, you know, hey, a juicer for 70 bucks is a great deal for a slow juicer. But, you know, if you're going to spend the full price, I would definitely go for the Omega VSJ843. The build quality is a lot better, higher quality screen, just a better juicer all around. And you guys get what you pay for. You know, I don't like hassling and screwing around with stuff and, you know, feeding produce into this machine and seeing how much pulp is left over at the end. Just kind of makes me sad, you know, and I want to live my life in joy, and the VSJ, to me, is a joy to use, and I look forward to every time that I get to juice and make one of the best drinks that I could put in my body, the fresh fruit and fresh vegetable juices. So if you guys enjoy this episode, please be sure to support me in my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. This allows me to continue to make these educational videos on YouTube for you guys. And also, be sure to click that subscribe button right down below this video to be notified of my new and upcoming episodes. I have new episodes coming out with different appliances that allow you to live a healthier lifestyle, as well as other juicer comparisons every 5 to 7 days. Also, if you enjoy this juice comparison, hey, please give me a thumbs up to let me know. That'll encourage me to make more juice off comparisons in the future. And don't forget, check my past episodes. My past episodes are a wealth of knowledge. Over 450 videos now, comparing all the different major brand juicers here in the good old USA. Let's make America great again. All right. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.